Alright, welcome to the graffiti jungle. Paolo Pulingue. Benvenuti nella giungla del graffiti. Questo è Impastore Rockstar, Spec Rockstar Trash Show. Pensieri Tangentiali, only known as the Tangential Thoughts Trash Show. We had a podcast we worked on Friday, the last Friday of 2025. Today's Tuesday. It's the last Tuesday of 2025, and tomorrow's the last day of 2025. Alright, so Still Reading Oils by Melanie Cambridge on page 76. This is how to choose a subject to paint. So, landscapes, painting indoors, landscapes, canals, rivers, mountain paths, painting indoors, kitchen dresser, through the bedroom door, sitting across the room, townscapes. I'm on townscapes now. When you are painting in a town, buildings rather than trees. When you are painting in a town, buildings rather than hills or trees will usually form the background, as well as perhaps being the main focus of your painting. Okay. It's just saying that there's a switch. Like usually in the background, you got trees, hills, mountains, rivers. But if you go into a city, buildings will most likely be your background. So buildings rather than hills or trees will usually form the background, as well as perhaps the main focus of your painting. In such cases, leave out much of the detail. Paint them with a number of tonal brush strokes to form a simple background pattern. Architectural details can be a bit daunting at first. It may seem far too complicated for a 30-minute painting. So that was the point. Each painting is done within 30 minutes. However, by simplifying what you see and keeping more ornate buildings towards the background of your picture, it is possible to paint them within this short time scale. I often portray such subjects against the light when details are lost. The key to capturing this scene is to paint the silhouette accurately, rather than the intricacies of the architecture. Okay. I often portray such subjects against the light when details are lost. The key to capturing the scene is to paint the silhouette accurately, rather than the intricacies of the architecture. This approach generally results in far more atmospheric paintings. Streets are rarely deserted, so do include a few figures, lampposts, and even an odd car or bus in your townscapes where appropriate. So again, each one of these is painted within a 30-minute time scale. Each one of these is painted within a 30-minute time scale. So our main thing was saying that you don't want to, like with buildings are going to be your background. You don't want to focus on them too much. So she said tonal brushstrokes, and not focusing on any intricacies or real details. But you're going to have people walking past, so include some figures that are walking past, maybe an odd car here or there. Just those bring life to the painting. So let's see what she says about this one. This one was A Walk in a Park, London. For the background buildings, I used neutral tones and limited the amount of architectural detail, painting the windows and doorways with single brushstrokes. So that was the part, single brushstrokes. This detail shows the columns on the buildings, which were painted loosely with Naples yellow and purple mix from cobalt blue and permanent rose. So her main thing is saying that, so not to focus too much on the intricacies and the details of paintings in the background. And so she just shows you like, this was Naples yellow and purple mixed with cobalt blue and permanent rose. So She's just showing you like tonal brushstrokes to help you get in there. And so she's not focusing too much on the details. Remember, these are all painted within 30 minutes. She has another one. The Splendor of Albert Memorial, with the Albert Hall behind, was captured using soft gray shades and a minimum of architectural detail. The figures provide a sense of scale, leaning the viewer toward the distant monument. And so she talks about scale and perspective a lot. And so she was making sure that this right here, the height of the figures and where they're at, kind of sort of lets you know like how huge the size of the monument is. That's why it was important to include the figures, because it lets you know like how huge the monument is in depth and perspective of how far away it is. So the figures were important. They add to the complexity of this. And remember, trees are just real simple, and these are just little quick brush strokes. So everything was painted within 30 minutes or less. Take care to ensure that the figures in your scale, she makes sure that the figures, like the people, they are proportionate to any adjacent doorways and windows. Okay, we got harbors. We're gonna do harbors, and then the next part is painting on holiday. So we'll finish harbors. Harbors are great places to paint, but do remember to check the tide before you start. A falling tide is certainly the safest. Boats that are settled on the sand are often at interesting angles, and being stationary are easier to paint than when bobbing around on the water in the breeze. Ropes, lobster pots, and mooring buoys all add to the general clutter, often found in harbors. So whenever possible, try to include items such as these in your paintings. Ropes, lobster pots, and mooring buoys all add to the general clutter often found in harbors. So whenever possible, try to include items such as these in your paintings. Simplify the scene. Harbors are usually busy places, so choose just one or two boats and concentrate on painting them, ignoring any others. Keep the background simple and paint just a harbor wall or cliff rather than the entire fishing village or harbor buildings. In 30 minutes, this is likely to be all you have time for, and you will probably make a better composition than if you try to put everything into one painting. You can easily do a second painting if you have more time to spare. So her main piece of advice is like, there's probably gonna be a lot of boats. Just paint one or two, and then the harbor wall or the cliff. Like one or two boats that you want to focus on painting, and then the harbor wall or the cliff. And then of course, you got people that might be figures, people might be walking around ropes, lobster pots, and mooring buoys. Like those all add just a little bit of this and that. So in this one, sitting on the quay in Poole, Dorset, whilst friends popped off for coffee, gave me enough time for this loose study of a boat loading up at the dockside opposite. Let's talk about this one. And just like, this just made me, she said, sitting on the quay in Poole, Dorset, whilst friends popped off for coffee, gave me enough time for this loose study of a boat loaded up at the dockside opposite. It's the fact that she's an artist, and it's like, it's whenever she gets a free moment or time, just the fact that her friends went to go get coffee, she was like, while they're getting coffee, I'm going to sit down and paint real quick. And she was able to get his stuff done. Like, she's constantly painting. At any given moment, free time, and everything is worth painting. That's just, that's beautiful. Like, she's always painting. It's like, no matter what, and anything and everything is worth painting. She's constantly looking around for what could be a subject, what could be a study. This next one, looking down from a cliff top, gives a different perspective on this tiny harbor. And she's painting from different perspectives. So this one was like an aerial view, so like she's looking down. This next one look good too. Here, the harbor wall was painted with thin, translucent darks, which complement the lively brushwork used for the sky and harbor mud. A single fishing boat was enough to set the scene. This one looked really nice. Yeah, quick overview. Look for simple views or close-up details rather than trying to paint a whole scene or complicated subject. Simplify your subject and paint only what you can see, not what you know is there. Keep colors in the background cooler. Use warmer ones in the foreground. Painting buildings and silhouette is a useful way of simplifying them without losing atmosphere. Keep background simple and busy harbor scenes, but include foreground details. Oh, this is a whole other chapter. The next chapter is called Painting on Holiday. And we'll be picking up on page 82.